Mother Nature does not care about your hiking vlog. She has exactly zero problem turning your weekend getaway into a tragic local news story. Before she drops a tornado on your head or introduces you to a furious predator, she always sends a warning. Here are 101 terrifying signs in nature that mean you have exactly 5 seconds to stop taking photos and run for your life. 1. Your hair just stood straight up like you rubbed a cheap party balloon on your head. Cute magic trick? Nope. You're the exact ground target for a lightning bolt, packing a billion joules of energy. Don't drop to your knees or pose for a selfie. Sprint to a hard-topped car or building fast. 2. The ocean just drained out to the horizon, leaving fish flopping in the mud like a sad aquarium clearance sale. Drop your seashell bucket. The sea is winding up a tsunami, and that missing water is coming back as a 50-foot wall. Head for the highest ground possible before it hits. 3. Gravity is patiently waiting to completely ruin your afternoon. See those tree trunks around you curving at the bottom like giant wooden hooks? Those are called J-shaped trees, and they mean you are standing on a slow-motion landslide. Get off that specific hill before the Earth takes a nasty shortcut. 4. When the sky turns a sick, glowing shade of bruised green, nature is loading up heavy ice boulders to throw at your skull. That toxic color guarantees a brutal hailcore or Midwestern tornado is brewing above you. Find a concrete basement before you catch a frozen fastball with your teeth. 5. Dead silence in the woods is never peaceful. If the chirping birds and buzzing bugs suddenly hit the mute button, you need to panic. Every prey animal around just realized a top-tier predator is actively hunting. You're now the loudest thing on the menu, so start backing out quietly. 6. Someone hiding a fresh salad in the thick brush? If you smell crisp cucumbers on a rocky hiking trail, freeze immediately. That is the defensive chemical spray of an agitated copperhead snake coiled near your ankle. Back away very slowly before that imaginary veggie sends you straight to the hospital. 7. There are absolutely zero train tracks near your house, but you hear the deafening roar of a heavy freight train outside. That terrifying sound is a massive tornado chewing up the neighborhood and heading your direction. Get into a windowless basement right now, or you are going to learn how to fly the hard way. 8. Stomp your winter boot on a snowy mountain and hear a deep, hollow drum sound echo back. Stop moving entirely. That acoustic nightmare means the snowpack beneath you is structurally worthless. One wrong step, and a massive slab avalanche will bury you under concrete hard ice faster than you can scream. 9. A wild stampede of deer, raccoons, and rabbits just blew past you, all heading the exact same direction. Do not pull out your phone to film a beautiful Disney moment. They are outrunning a raging forest fire. Take their expert survival advice, turn around, and join that frantic marathon immediately. 10. Why does the dirt beneath your hiking boots feel like a heated bathroom floor in the middle of a freezing winter? You have a major geographical emergency. You are casually strolling over rising magma or active geothermal vents. Leave the area before the national park roasts you like a holiday turkey. 11. Look straight up. If those dark clouds look like long, curved hairpins or a horseshoe, grab your stuff and run indoors. That bizarre shape signals a rare but brutal localized wind shear event. A violent microburst is about to drop out of the sky and flatten your house like a cheap pancake. 12. That giant Alaskan moose staring at you while lowering its head and pinning its ears back isn't bowing to say hello. It's getting ready to stomp you into the dirt. An angry moose is basically a freight train with legs. Find a thick oak tree to hide behind before it charges your way. 13. A perfectly calm lake just started bubbling wildly like a giant pot of boiling water. Run uphill immediately. Toxic carbon dioxide gas is escaping from the bottom, creating an invisible cloud that suffocates absolutely everything on the shore. This is not a relaxing hot tub. This is a suffocating death trap. 14. Hear a low, terrifying hiss coming from a swampy log in Florida? Good news. That ugly log has teeth. Alligators hiss to politely let you know you just entered their personal biting space. Back away, slowly, and let the prehistoric swamp puppy enjoy its afternoon nap. You really do not want that smoke. 15. Your clear mountain stream just turned dark brown and filled with snapping tree branches. You have maybe 10 seconds to live. A massive flash flood is already barreling down the rocky canyon toward you. Scramble up the nearest steep dirt bank before a violent wall of mud erases your hiking plans forever. 16. Beautiful gray snow is magically falling on your windshield in the middle of July. Turn on the wipers and it smears into a thick, abrasive sludge. That is raw volcanic ash from an eruption you cannot even hear yet. It will absolutely destroy your car engine and your lungs. Drive the opposite direction fast. 17. A single worker bee is forcefully headbutting your face but absolutely refusing to sting you. Do not swat it. That is a highly trained guard bee delivering one final warning to step back from the hidden hive. Ignore her polite request, and 1,000 angry sisters will launch a full biological airstrike. 18. Those incredibly creepy clouds hanging from the sky that look like giant, heavy bubble wrap are called mammatus clouds. Gorgeous for your social media, sure, but they only tag along with the most brutal, destructive thunderstorms on planet Earth. Seek sturdy shelter before you become a tragic weather statistic. 19. Deep in a totally dry forest, and you catch the distinct, overpowering stench of a wet, dirty dog. There are absolutely zero golden retrievers out here. That terrible odor belongs to a sweaty, nervous black bear hiding in the thick bushes nearby. Make yourself look huge, get extremely loud, and back away slowly. 20. See a suspiciously calm, wave-free strip of water slicing right through the crashing ocean surf? Step into that spot and you will end up in a different zip code. That smooth path is a deadly rip current. It is an aquatic conveyor belt pulling you straight out into the deep blue ocean. 21. Looking out at the water and notice perfectly square waves forming a bizarre grid pattern on the surface? It looks like a computer simulation glitch. It is actually an underwater blender of colliding cross currents that will drag you straight to the sandy bottom without a second thought. The ocean is literally trying to blend you like a smoothie. Stay on the sand and enjoy the view from a safe distance. 22. A dark, ominous cloud base slowly rotating in the sky is the single worst thing you can look up and see. That is called a wall cloud, and it is basically a tornado doing its grocery shopping, deciding which neighborhood to destroy first. Your dramatic storm footage is not worth the funeral costs. Get in a car and drive the other way. 23. That massive Yellowstone bison lifting its furry tail straight up like a flag is not using the bathroom. Do not pull out your camera. That is a biological threat display. It is about to charge your family rental car at 40 miles per hour and turn you into a local news story. Start the engine immediately. 24. Your living room floorboards are humming with a subtle, low-frequency vibration, but the house is dead quiet. Those are primary earthquake waves. They travel just slightly faster than the totally destructive ones right behind them. You have exactly 3 seconds to dive under a sturdy table before the real shaking starts. 25. You spot a wild pig in the brush and it aggressively pops its jaws together, making a loud clacking sound. Do not try to feed it trail mix. That severe jaw popping is a furious warning that it is about to charge and slice your shins open with dirty tusks. Back away quickly before you need emergency stitches. 26. A strong coastal storm completely passes by, and the beach water suddenly drops several feet in a matter of minutes. This is not a normal low tide. The atmosphere just punched the ocean, and the ocean is about to punch back. That is a meteor tsunami, and a solid wall of water is already building its return trip. Sprint inland. The ocean does not give refunds. 27. A wild coyote suddenly freezes, drops its head low to the ground, and stares a hole right through you without blinking. It is not waiting for a friendly pet. That locked posture means it no longer sees you as a curious human. It sees you as an incredibly slow, fleshy target. Pick up a big rock and yell. 28. Millions of panicked spiders suddenly climbing up trees, wooden fences, and telephone poles all at once. Pure visual nightmare fuel, sure. But they know something you do not. Extreme flash flooding is coming fast. When millions of tiny creatures frantically run for high ground, you follow their creepy little lead. 29. The pine trees in this quiet forest are all leaning wildly in random directions like a bunch of drunks. leaving a bar at closing time. The solid ground is liquefying. Permafrost is rapidly melting, or a colossal sinkhole is actively forming beneath your heavy boots. If the trees cannot stand up straight, what makes you think the ground will hold you? 30. Ever notice a spot of churning, violent white water right in the middle of a perfectly calm, lazy river? That is a hydraulic jump created by a submerged rock ledge. Think of it as a brutal underwater washing machine. Get sucked into that spinning vortex, and you are never coming back out to the surface. 31. Hiking a narrow slot canyon, and you notice hundreds of broken branches jammed into the rock walls way above your head? Nobody climbed up there and decorated. That is the high water mark of the last flash flood. A storm miles away can fill that gap with raging water in seconds. Those branches got stuck 20 feet up for a reason. Do not become the next piece of debris. 32. Totally windless nature trail, but the dry brown leaves by your feet are shaking like crazy. Something perfectly camouflaged is vibrating its tail violently in those dead leaves. That is a massive rattlesnake winding up to strike your exposed calf muscle. Jump back and power walk down the trail without looking back. 33. Tell your tour boat captain to punch the throttle right now. See that massive iceberg near the glacier that looks perfectly glassy and dark green? It just flipped over. It is wildly unstable, and when that frozen monster rolls again, the violent wave it creates will capsize your boat like a cheap plastic bath toy. 34. Surviving a brutal, deafening hurricane and the wind just magically stopped? Do not step outside to celebrate. You are trapped directly inside the eye. The sky will clear for a few beautiful, deceptive minutes before the worst destructive winds of your life return from the exact opposite direction. The storm is not done with you. It just switched hands. 35. Catch a nasty whiff of rotting meat in the thick woods without seeing a carcass anywhere? You just stumbled right into a hidden predator cache. A massive bear or mountain lion buried its fresh kill here and is guarding it closely. Do not run. Walk away extremely calmly and try your hardest not to look delicious. 36. You are sweating through your shirt on a hot, sticky afternoon when the temperature suddenly plummets 20 degrees in 2 minutes. A violent downburst is heading your way. A solid wall of destructive wind is about to turn your heavy patio umbrella into a neighborhood missile. Get inside before you catch it with your face. 37. A smooth, cone-shaped cloud dangling dangerously down from a thunderstorm but not touching the ground is a funnel cloud. Think of it as a monster tornado doing its warm-up stretches before the big game. The second that spinning wind column touches the dirt, total neighborhood destruction is strictly guaranteed. You do not want front-row seats to that show. 38. Be extremely careful on that frozen winter lake. If the thick ice starts singing with a weird, high-pitched laser sound, it is not being musical. The frozen surface is actively cracking under your body weight. Carefully slide your feet backward the exact way you came. Do not take another heavy step forward. 39. If a striped skunk completely turns around, lifts its fluffy tail, and starts aggressively stomping its front paws at you, your time is officially up. That is the absolute final warning before it chemically ruins your social life for the next entire month. Back away slowly or prepare to burn every piece of clothing you own. 40. A random pile of wet mud is loudly popping and blowing huge, disgusting bubbles right in front of you. Extreme geological pressure is building underground. That mud volcano is actively venting gas, and it can suddenly erupt, spraying boiling sludge over absolutely everything nearby. You do not want a mud facial this hot. 41. Picture this terrifying scenario. You are deep inside a rocky cave, and the natural echo suddenly sounds completely muffled and dead. The air pressure just changed dramatically. Either the stone structure is failing deep inside, or invisible, toxic gas is flooding the cavern. When the cave stops talking back, it is telling you to leave. Head toward daylight before the mountain makes that decision for you. 42. Looking at a thick forest and notice all the green leaves suddenly flip completely upside down, showing their pale undersides? It is not a cool magic trick. A violent drop in barometric pressure is creating extreme updrafts. A severe, destructive supercell is literally right on top of you. When every leaf in the forest waves goodbye at the same time? Take the hint. 43. Feel a sudden, extreme temperature drop while swimming in beautifully warm ocean water? Cold water upwelling brings the absolute worst deep-sea creatures right to the surface, including heavily stinging jellyfish and aggressive sharks looking for an easy snack. Listen to the sudden chill and swim back to the sandy shore immediately. 44. That bizarre, heavy stillness, where not a single green leaf is moving right before a dark storm hits, is nature holding its breath. The storm is violently sucking all surrounding air up into its core, building immense atmospheric energy. When nature holds its breath, you do not want to be standing outside when it exhales. 45. Standing in a dense pine forest on a perfectly calm day and hear incredibly loud creaking and snapping sounds? Look straight up. A giant dead tree just completely lost its structural integrity. Forest rangers call it a widowmaker for a very tragic reason. Move away from that rotting trunk before it earns its awful name. 46. A huge, deep crack in the dirt shaped like a giant smile on a steep hillside is not nature being cute. That tension crack means the entire section of land above it has already detached and is holding on by sheer stubbornness. One heavy rain and that hillside is taking everything on it straight to the bottom. Scramble to flat ground before you take the worst ride of your life. 47. Your rural well water supply just went completely dry overnight for absolutely no logical reason. Do not just call a local plumber and go back to sleep. This sudden groundwater shift is a classic warning sign that extreme tectonic stress is building. A highly destructive earthquake could easily be just a few hours away. 48. Those enormous white bubbles completely frozen inside the clear lake ice look beautiful enough to photograph. They are also highly flammable, concentrated methane gas pockets. If the ice cracks near any open heat source, the entire frozen surface goes up like a cheap gas station. Admire the winter magic from the dry shore. 49. Getting a seriously nasty whiff of rotten eggs near a peaceful, beautiful mountain lake? You are inhaling highly toxic sulfur dioxide straight into your sensitive lungs. That sleeping volcano is waking up and venting deadly gas directly through the ground. Do not sit around waiting for the lava show. Get in your car and drive. 50. The ocean water just turned a deep, incredibly rusty red color along the entire coastline. That is not a beautiful, romantic sunset reflection. It is a highly toxic algae bloom, officially called a red tide. The sea breeze is now completely filled with neurotoxins that will absolutely wreck your lungs. Get off the beach and go home. 51. Flocks of wild birds are flying unusually low to the ground in a frantic, entirely chaotic mess. This is not some weirdly organized bird parade. A severe drop in barometric pressure is physically hurting their tiny ears, and they are scrambling. A catastrophic storm system is rolling in extremely fast. If the birds are flying lower than your car, you should already be inside the house. 52. Your normally incredibly lazy dog just started frantically clawing at the hardwood floor and trying to chew through the locked back door. Pay attention to your wildly paranoid canine. Animals naturally sense the deep atmospheric shifts right before a massive earthquake. Trust the dog. It is way smarter than you right now. Get to safety. 53. Cruising on a boat and notice a completely random, localized patch of ocean water actively boiling and turning a weird milky color? You did not just find a secret hot tub. An active submarine volcano is violently venting toxic gases right below your hull. Turn the boat around and punch the throttle immediately. 54. You know that creepy feeling when the dark shadows around you seem to be moving completely wrong? That is not your wild imagination or a cheap horror movie. Your ancient survival brain just naturally detected a beautifully camouflaged predator actively stalking you. Do not ignore 100,000 years of evolution. Trust your gut and go. 55. A heavily armored desert centipede just stopped completely moving and violently lifted its front legs into the air. Congratulations! You made the nightmare angry. It is exposing highly venomous pincers and getting ready to deliver a bite that feels exactly like someone injected liquid fire into your sensitive skin. Step away from the angry noodle. 56. Standing near a narrow cave entrance and feel a strong, freezing wind rushing out like the earth is exhaling? That is a barometric equalizer. Severe weather is rapidly approaching outside, and the cave is fiercely adjusting its deep internal pressure. Your afternoon hiking trip is completely over. Find real shelter immediately. 57. That shiny, wet-looking surface rapidly rushing down the steep volcano slope isn't a muddy river. It's a lahar. Think of it as a superheated mix of rocks and boiling water moving at 60 miles per hour. It buries entire towns under concrete like sludge without warning. The only safe direction is straight up. 58. See a massive, glowing white ring perfectly circling the moon on a warm summer night? It looks deeply mystical, but it is actually a high-altitude moisture warning. A massive front of severe, flood-producing rain is less than 24 hours away. Cancel your weekend camping trip and double-check your roof. 59. A thick snake in a muddy southern swamp completely freezing and throwing its head back to show you the stark white inside of its mouth? That is a furious cottonmouth. It is not yawning. It is showing you exactly where the dangerous venom comes from right before it strikes your bare leg. Back out of its personal swamp immediately. 60. Brushing past tall grass and noticing thousands of tiny black dots hanging off the very tips of the blades with their front legs stretched out? That is called questing. A massive army of hungry ticks is blindly waiting to hitch a ride on your exposed ankles. Back out of that specific overgrown meadow right now. 61. A massive gray-brown wall of heavy dust completely swallowing the horizon while you are driving through the hot desert? That is an incredibly violent haboob. Pull over immediately, turn off your headlights, and take your foot completely off the brake pedal. Visibility is about to hit absolute zero, and you do not want anyone rear-ending you at 60. 62. Hot, completely calm summer day. No wind at all. You are sitting safely under a big, beautiful oak tree enjoying the deep shade. Then, a perfectly healthy-looking heavy branch the size of a motorcycle just crashes down 2 feet away. It is called sudden summer branch drop. The massive tree is extremely heat-stressed. Shade is free. The emergency room visit is not. Move away from all large trees on hot days. 63. You're blindly following animal tracks in fresh winter snow, and they suddenly vanish with zero trace. No turn, no scuff marks. A mountain lion just realized it was being followed and launched itself 40 feet off the trail. It already picked its next move. You were following it. Now it is following you. Check the tree line above and leave the area calmly. 64. Do not casually lean against random trees in the deep tropics unless you actively want a horrific chemical burn. The man-chenille tree naturally bleeds thick, milky white sap that is so intensely acidic it will literally blister your skin right off your body. Even standing under it during rain is dangerous enough. The terrified locals call it the Tree of Death. 65. A weird, dark cloud rapidly approaching the horizon that strangely sounds like a million tiny clicking plastic gears is not a normal thunderstorm. It is a literal plague-level swarm of hungry grasshoppers arriving to completely devour every single green plant in sight. They will totally strip a massive field bare in mere hours. Unless you want a million uninvited guests in your living room, seal every window and door. 66. Walking down a perfectly dry asphalt road when water suddenly starts bubbling up right through the solid blacktop? The street is not sweating. A massive underground water main just burst, and the soil beneath you is violently washing away. You are standing on a forming sinkhole. The road is about to eat itself. Back up before you go down with it. 67. Looking out your glass patio door to see dozens of local frogs stuck to the glass, climbing as high as possible? They are not trying to get inside to say hello. They sense a massive, rapid rise in groundwater. Catastrophic flash flooding is about to hit your street. When the frogs are desperately trying to get into your house, you should be desperately trying to get out of it. 68. Most people would naturally wave their arms wildly to scare off a small, wild animal rapidly running toward them. If that panicked animal completely ignores you and keeps violently sprinting past, you are totally irrelevant. It is absolutely terrified of something much bigger and much angrier aggressively lurking right behind you. Turn around extremely slowly and assess. 69. Experiencing a random, incredibly intense heat wave right in the middle of a totally freezing winter? That is specifically called a Chinook wind. Feels utterly amazing, right? Enjoy it while it briefly lasts, because it is rapidly destabilizing every heavy snowpack on the steep mountains directly above you. Deadly avalanche season just completely started early. 70. Hearing a loud, aggressively angry buzzing, violently vibrating up through the dirt beneath your hiking boots in the woods? You just blindly stepped on a literal nightmare. You are standing directly over a massive underground yellowjacket nest. Thousands of furiously stinging wasps are already rushing violently up through the dirt. Sprint away immediately. Do not stop to swat. 71. See a completely strange, perfectly smooth, lens-shaped white cloud sitting directly on top of a mountain peak like an alien UFO? That is a lenticular cloud. It definitely looks alien, but it directly signals extreme, highly dangerous high-altitude winds. If you are actively climbing that peak, a brutal, freezing windstorm is about to blow you right off the steep ridge. 72. Admiring a fuzzy, silver-looking cactus in the desert that almost looks soft enough to pet? Keep your hands in your pockets. That is a jumping cholla. It does not actually jump, but the segments detach at the absolute lightest microscopic touch and drive barbed needles deep into your muscles. Give that evil plant extreme distance. 73. Dozens of massive turkey vultures circling low over one specific spot in the dry desert means something died there very recently. More importantly, a highly territorial predator is likely guarding that fresh carcass. You are walking right into someone else's dangerous dinner reservation. Reroute before you end up on the menu. 74. Walking confidently across a solid-looking grass meadow when the ground suddenly starts rolling and bouncing under you like a giant waterbed? You just stepped onto an unstable peat bog. If the thin crust breaks, you will slowly sink into bottomless, suffocating mud. Freeze and softly crawl backward. 75. A pack of coyotes has been howling all night long, and they suddenly stop at the exact same time. Dead quiet. Something much bigger just walked right into their territory and shut the whole party down. A mountain lion or hungry bear is roaming near your dark campsite. Whatever shut them up outranks you on the food chain. Make noise and do not leave that tent. 76. An unusually large number of earthworms are crawling out of the dirt to cover the sidewalk. This is not simple rain behavior. These creatures detect deep seismic vibrations humans cannot feel yet. They are evacuating the soil because the earth is about to violently shake. When the worms evacuate, do not be the one creature too proud to follow. 77. Drop your stuff and move inland. The ocean just made a terrifying low roar that you feel in your chest more than you hear. That is the unique acoustic signature of a destructive wave building offshore. By the time you see that wall of water, it is already way too late. 78. Exploring a rocky volcanic field and your heavy boot step suddenly makes a deep, hollow, echoing sound like a drum? Stop moving. You are walking on a thin glass ceiling over a volcanic basement. One wrong step and it collapses into a hidden cavern of razor-sharp rock. Retrace every single step exactly the way you came. 79. Two bright, rainbow-colored orbs floating on either side of the freezing winter sun look like a matrix glitch. Those are called sundogs. They are formed by high-altitude ice crystals and guarantee that a brutally dangerous, freezing cold front is arriving. Grab a heavy jacket and head indoors. 80. An angry mama bear is currently somewhere close. You know exactly how you can tell? Because her adorable little cub is standing right in front of you crying for attention. You have roughly 2 seconds before 400 pounds of maternal fury comes crashing through the brush to end your existence. 81. The flat ground in this volcanic park is visibly swelling upward like a giant dirt blister. Magma is filling the rock chamber directly below your hiking boots. The angry planet is building extreme geological pressure, and the natural release valve is pointed straight at your face. Start the car. 82. Loud, continuous cracking sounds echoing from the cliff above your head means thermal expansion just did its job. Heavy boulders are detaching from the rock face. A massive rockfall is about to rain down on your exact location. Gravity always wins. Get away from the base of that cliff before a boulder the size of your car proves it. 83. Tens of thousands of starlings flying in a beautiful, synchronized murmuration pattern that suddenly breaks apart into complete chaos is a major red flag. The flock just detected a deadly raptor or a severe atmospheric wind shift. When 10,000 birds simultaneously panic, your confident outdoor attitude means absolutely nothing. 84. You spot an incredibly tall, beautiful plant with massive white flower clusters that looks like giant Queen Anne lace. Do not pick it for your kitchen table. That is giant hogweed. Getting its clear sap on your skin and stepping into the sunlight will cause horrific, permanent third-degree chemical burns. Walk a wide circle around it. 85. Catching the faint, sweet scent of bitter almonds while overturning rotting logs in the woods? Certain millipedes release toxic hydrogen cyanide gas when threatened. You just inhaled actual poison because you wanted to see what was under a rock. Drop the log and take a step back. 86. A remote wilderness stream where the rocks look spray-painted in toxic orange and bright yellow isn't a modern art project. That's acid mine drainage. The water is loaded with dissolved heavy metals that will wreck your internal organs. Don't touch it, and definitely keep your dog away. 87. The raging river you are watching just dropped its water level to a sad little trickle for no logical reason. Do not try to cross the dry rocks. A massive ice jam formed upstream. When that frozen blockage snaps, a brutal wall of freezing water will obliterate everything standing in that empty channel. 88. Trying to outrun a massive forest fire when the wind suddenly stops and sharply changes direction? You are trapped. The blaze just created its own weather system by sucking in surrounding oxygen. It is now rushing straight toward you from a blind spot. Change your escape route right now. 89. A perfectly isolated calm pond hidden in the woods with several dead animals scattered around its edges is extremely suspicious. That deceptively clear water is venting heavy, invisible volcanic gases. Bend down to investigate the grim scene, and you will quickly join the permanent dirt nap club. If every animal that stopped for a drink never left, you should not be stopping either. 90. Smelling a strong metallic scent, exactly like sparking electrical wires while standing in an open field? You are inhaling raw ozone. A gigantic electrical charge is building in the air around your body. Lightning is about to strike your exact position. You are literally smelling your own near-death experience. Crouch low and get to shelter before the sky picks you as its target. 91. Standing ankle-deep in a lazy desert river, and the water suddenly speeds up and rushes past your boots? A deadly flash flood is already here. You have mere seconds to scramble up the steep dirt bank before the water rises over your head. Do not hesitate for a family photo. Start climbing. 92. Walking the beach, and you spot a gorgeous, perfectly intact shell decorated with an intricate brown and white geometric pattern. Leave it completely alone. A live geography cone snail might be hiding inside. It carries a venomous harpoon that will completely paralyze your respiratory system before you even reach the parking lot. Do not touch it. 93. A subtle, newly formed depression in the ground near your house that was not there last week is not a simple landscaping issue. The soil is eroding directly into an underground void. You are watching the early stages of a massive sinkhole that could easily swallow your living room. Call a geologist before your morning coffee ends up in a brand new underground swimming pool. 94. That deafening roar coming from the forest that sounds exactly like a heavy jet engine is definitely not an airplane. It is the lethal sound of a massive crown fire. The blaze jumped from the ground into the high treetops and is moving faster than you can legally drive. Floor the gas pedal. 95. You have had a brutal headache all day that refuses to go away, and now the afternoon sky looks dark and threatening. Your body is reacting to a severe barometric pressure drop well before the storm actually arrives. You are a biological human weather detector. Grab some aspirin and stay indoors. 96. You wandered off the safe trail and your boots are slowly sinking into what looked like solid ground. Stop struggling. You just stepped into deep quicksand. The more you panic and kick, the faster you sink. Lean back slowly, spread your weight, and calmly wiggle your legs free. 97. Your favorite summer lake suddenly looks incredibly weird. like someone dumped a million gallons of thick green paint into it. Keep your dog out of the water. That is a toxic blue-green algae bloom. Swallowing even a tiny amount will destroy your liver faster than cheap whiskey. Find a local pool. 98. A spinning column of pure fire just rose up from the massive wildfire directly in front of you. That is a terrifying fire whirl. It is basically a localized tornado made entirely of angry flames. It can toss burning debris an entire mile in any random direction. A flaming tornado is not a spectator sport. Get out of the forest while you still have a forest to get out of. 99. Millions of flying insects suddenly filling the sky in a massive swarm is not the insect apocalypse. It is their annual mating flight. This biological event is triggered by a specific combination of extreme heat and humidity that almost always precedes severe thunderstorms. Close your windows. 100. An animal you cannot identify just made a terrifying scream in the dark woods that sounds exactly like a human woman crying for help. It is a mountain lion. Their territorial call is perfectly designed by ancient evolution to be intensely unsettling. Do not play hero and investigate the noise. Just leave. 101. Here is the single most important warning sign of them all. If every ancient instinct in your body is loudly screaming that something is terribly wrong, but your logical brain cannot figure out exactly why, listen to the panic. Your subconscious picked up a lethal threat your eyes missed. Do not wait around. Run. I absolutely guarantee at least one person watching this has stupidly ignored one of these warnings and barely lived to tell the story. Go ahead, expose your worst outdoor mistake in the comments. Who almost got stomped by a moose? Subscribe and hit the like button right now unless you actively want your next camping trip to be an absolute disaster. I am trying to keep you alive here.